The Meridian's sleek silhouette pierced the cerulean veil of Earth's atmosphere, its metallic hull trembling under the strain of the cosmic forces that beckoned it forth. Inside the spacecraft, the crew buzzed with a palpable blend of excitement and trepidation. Dr. Evelyn Ryder, her auburn hair dancing in the artificial gravity, wrestled with her emotions as she prepared for the journey ahead. "Remember, we're not just explorers, we're ambassadors," Commander Jasper Hawkins boomed, his resonant voice steady and resolute. He stood tall and confident, the years of wisdom etched in the lines of his face. Evelyn admired Jasper's unwavering resolve, even as her heart raced with uncertainty. Evelyn's gaze wandered to Lieutenant Zara Khan, whose dark eyes gleamed with a steely determination. Zara's fingers danced across the control panel, her mastery of the ship's intricate machinery evident in every precise movement. Evelyn wondered if Zara's self-doubt ever plagued her during missions, or if her ironclad resolve was truly impenetrable. Dr. Maxwell Chen, the ship's lead researcher, peered intently at the readouts on his monitor, his glasses sliding down his nose as he muttered to himself. His rapid-fire speech barely registered in Evelyn's mind, her thoughts consumed by the impending vastness of space. As the Meridian pierced through the inky blackness, its sensors detected an anomaly. A planet, shrouded in an ethereal mirror-like surface, defied the laws of physics. The crew watched in awe as the strange world materialized before them, its reflective exterior casting distorted reflections of the crew back at them. Evelyn gasped, her heart seizing in her chest. The sight of the mirror planet ignited a flurry of emotions within her, memories of her daughter's laughter echoing in the recesses of her mind. She shook her head, pushing the thoughts aside. "Commander, this isn't on our charts," Zara stated, her voice laced with concern. Jasper's eyes narrowed, his gaze locked on the enigmatic planet. "We can't ignore this opportunity, Lieutenant. Dr. Chen, I want a full scan of the area." Evelyn felt an icy tendril of unease coil around her heart. She knew the dangers of the unknown, the insidious ways it could prey upon the fragile psyche. But as the crew prepared to investigate the anomaly, she couldn't help but feel drawn to the mirror planet's mysteries, her own curiosity eclipsing her fear. "Dr. Ryder, what are your thoughts?" Jasper asked, his voice cutting through the din of the control room. Evelyn hesitated, her eyes lingering on the distorted image of herself reflected in the mirror planet's surface. The memories of her daughter threatened to consume her, but she knew she had a duty to her crew. Taking a deep breath, she replied, "Commander, we must proceed with caution, but we can't deny the potential scientific value of this discovery." As the Meridian drew closer to the mirror planet, its reflective surface seemed to whisper secrets that only the crew could unlock. The air in the control room grew thick with anticipation, the weight of their impending discovery pressing down upon them. Evelyn closed her eyes, steeling herself for the challenges that lay ahead, and whispered a silent prayer for the strength to guide her crew through the darkness. The Meridian's descent was smooth, the ship's thrusters humming softly as it glided towards the mirror planet's surface. Evelyn's pulse raced as she watched the dazzling reflection of the ship ripple and distort in the planet's sheen. The control room buzzed with hushed whispers and the occasional clatter of fingers on keyboards, but Jasper's voice cut through the tension like a knife. "All hands, prepare for landing," he called out, his deep, authoritative tone belying the hint of excitement in his eyes. Evelyn's gaze locked with his for a brief moment, and she saw the determination that drove him. She couldn't help but admire his courage, even as her own trepidation gnawed at her. She swallowed hard, her throat tightening as she fought to maintain her composure. "Commander, are you sure this is the best course of action?" she asked, her voice steady but laced with concern. "This planet, it's unlike anything we've ever encountered. We have no idea what we're walking into." Jasper's gaze softened, and he offered her a reassuring nod. "I understand your concerns, Dr. Ryder, but we have a responsibility to explore the unknown, to push the boundaries of our understanding. And besides, we have the best crew in the fleet. We can handle whatever comes our way." As the Meridian touched down, a collective sigh of relief echoed through the control room. But for Evelyn, the reprieve was short-lived. As she disembarked the ship and set foot on the mirror planet, a sudden, overwhelming wave of grief washed over her. The air around her seemed to shimmer and warp, and the once distant memories of her daughter's laughter echoed in her ears. She saw a little girl with her same auburn hair and piercing green eyes, running through a field of wildflowers, her smile radiant and full of life. Evelyn's breath hitched in her throat, and her eyes welled with tears. She reached out a trembling hand, desperate to touch the ghostly apparition, but her fingers grasped only air. The vision dissipated like mist in the wind, leaving her heart aching with a longing she thought she'd buried long ago. She stumbled back, her legs threatening to give way beneath her. Jasper caught her arm, his brow furrowed with concern. "Evelyn, what's wrong?" he asked, his voice tinged with worry. She shook her head, fighting to regain her composure. It's nothing. I just need a moment." But as she looked around, she saw that she wasn't the only one affected by the planet's strange energy. The crew members exchanged uneasy glances, their faces pale and drawn. It was clear that they, too, were grappling with their own hidden fears and desires. Evelyn knew then that they were in for a far more harrowing journey than any of them had anticipated. But as she looked into Jasper's steady gaze, she found a glimmer of hope amidst the turmoil. Together, they would face the challenges that lay ahead, united in their quest to unravel the mirror planet's secrets. As they ventured deeper into the labyrinth of their own minds, Evelyn couldn't help but wonder what other horrors and wonders awaited them in the heart of the mirror planet. But she also knew that, no matter what they encountered, they would face it together, their bond stronger than any force the universe could throw at them. And with that thought, she took a deep breath, squared her shoulders, and followed Jasper into the unknown. The Meridian's crew trudged through the mirror planet's alien landscape, their footsteps echoing ominously against the glass-like surface. Dr. Evelyn Ryder watched as her crewmates' faces twisted in silent anguish, their eyes reflecting the turmoil within. The planet's power seemed to penetrate their very souls, dragging forth the deepest recesses of their subconscious. Evelyn's own heart ached as she relived the memories of her daughter's tragic accident, but she clenched her jaw and pressed on, determined to be the team's emotional anchor in this harrowing ordeal. She glanced over at Dr. Maxwell Chen, whose fervent passion for discovery had now morphed into an obsessive fixation on the planet's properties. "Maxwell," she called out, her voice steady and soothing. "We need to focus on finding the source of this influence. Can you analyze the energy readings?" Dr. Chen's eyes snapped back into focus, and he nodded eagerly, the scientist in him rising to the occasion. He hastily tapped away at his portable scanner, the device's screen flickering with a myriad of data. As they ventured deeper into the labyrinth, the crew's hallucinations grew more vivid and intense. Lieutenant Hugo Martinez suddenly froze, his eyes wide with terror as he stared at a vision of his family engulfed in flames. Evelyn rushed to his side, her hand gripping his arm firmly. "Hugo, remember, this isn't real. It's the planet's influence. We need to stay focused on the mission." Hugo nodded, his breathing ragged as he fought to regain control. Evelyn gave his arm a reassuring squeeze before turning her attention back to Dr. Chen. "Anything?" she asked, hopeful. Dr. Chen's brow furrowed as he scrutinized the scanner's display. "There's a definite energy signature emanating from the center of the planet. It's unlike anything I've ever seen before." Evelyn's heart raced as she considered the implications. That has to be the source. We need to get there and find a way to neutralize it. Tensions mounted as the crew continued their treacherous journey, each step bringing them closer to the planet's elusive core. With every passing moment, the line between reality and illusion grew increasingly blurred, and Evelyn couldn't help but wonder if they would ever escape the mirror planet's insidious grasp. But as she looked around at her crew, their faces etched with determination and resolve, she felt a surge of hope. Together, they would confront their deepest fears and unravel the mystery of the mirror planet, emerging stronger and more united than ever before. Evelyn's gaze lingered on the hauntingly beautiful landscape, a shiver running down her spine as she contemplated the challenges that lay ahead. But she refused to let fear dictate her actions, and with a renewed sense of purpose, she led her crew forward into the heart of the mirror planet. As they pressed on, the crew's collective willpower seemed to create a force field of resilience, allowing them to push through the hallucinations and maintain their focus on the mission. Evelyn marveled at their strength, her heart swelling with pride and gratitude. Together, they would unlock the secrets of the Mirror Planet and break free from its sinister hold. And in doing so, they would not only expand the boundaries of human knowledge, but also forge a bond that would transcend the depths of space and time. With determination burning in her eyes, Evelyn Ryder marched onward, her crew by her side, ready to face whatever challenges the Mirror Planet had in store for them. The shimmering expanse of the Mirror Planet loomed before them, its reflective surface casting eerie, distorted reflections of their faces. Dr. Evelyn Ryder could see the trepidation in her crew's eyes, but also a steely resolve that bolstered her own determination. She glanced at Dr. Maxwell Chen, his glasses perched precariously on the bridge of his nose as he studied their surroundings with fervent intensity. Beside him, Hugo Martinez's steady gaze seemed to penetrate the very essence of the planet's mystery. Evelyn's heart pounded in her chest as she spoke, her words measured and deliberate. "Dr. Chen, what can you tell us about these reflective surfaces? They seem to be at the core of this planet's power." Dr. Chen's eyes lit up with excitement, his rapid-fire delivery barely contained. "Well, Dr. Ryder, my preliminary analysis suggests that these surfaces are not merely reflective, but rather, they appear to be acting as some sort of psychic conduit. They're tapping into our subconscious minds, amplifying and manifesting our deepest thoughts and emotions." Hugo interjected, his voice steady and calming. "So, these hallucinations we've been experiencing, they're not just random occurrences. They're our own fears and desires, brought to life by this planet." Evelyn's mind raced as she processed this new information. Her heart ached as she thought of her long-lost daughter, the pain of that loss still raw and fresh. She knew that she and her crew would have to confront their innermost demons if they were to stand any chance of escape. With a deep breath, she turned to her crew, her voice strong and resolute. "We need to find the source of this planet's power and put an end to its influence. Dr. Chen, I need you to analyze the data from the ship's sensors, see if you can pinpoint the epicenter of this psychic energy. Hugo, I want you to focus on finding a way to neutralize or disrupt it once we locate it." As her crew members sprang into action, Evelyn felt a renewed sense of hope. Despite their personal struggles, they were rallying together, determined to overcome the seemingly insurmountable odds stacked against them. She knew that the road ahead would be fraught with danger and uncertainty, but she also knew that they would face it as a united front, their collective strength and resilience their greatest weapon against the Mirror Planet's sinister hold. In that moment, as the crew worked tirelessly to decipher the planet's secrets, Evelyn Ryder felt a deep sense of pride and gratitude welling up within her. Together, they would unravel the mystery of the Mirror Planet and break free from its clutches. And in doing so, they would not only expand the boundaries of human knowledge, but also forge a bond that would transcend the depths of space and time. As the crew pressed on, the hauntingly beautiful landscape seemed to shift and warp around them, a constant reminder of the planet's unyielding grip on their minds. But with each step, Evelyn felt their collective resolve growing stronger, their determination to overcome this seemingly insurmountable challenge unwavering. In the face of their deepest fears and darkest desires, Dr. Evelyn Ryder and her crew would stand together, their unity and resilience their beacon of hope in the inky blackness of space. The kaleidoscope of colors swirling around Evelyn Ryder was both mesmerizing and disorienting. Shimmering reflections danced across the mirror-like surface beneath her feet, casting distorted images of her crewmates as they tread carefully through the labyrinth of psychological challenges. A cacophony of whispers echoed in her ears, taunting her with half-remembered fears and long-forgotten desires. "Commander Hawkins, what's our next move?" she asked, her voice steady despite the turmoil within. She watched as Jasper scanned the horizon, his eyes narrowed in concentration. "We need to trust each other, Evelyn," he replied, his deep voice barely audible above the din. "We can't let these manifestations divide us." Evelyn nodded, her heart heavy with the weight of responsibility. As the team's counselor, it was her duty to keep them grounded, to help them navigate the treacherous path through their own minds. But even she wasn't immune to the planet's insidious influence. "I see her, you know," Zara Khan whispered, her dark eyes haunted. "My little sister. She's trapped in there. and I can't reach her. Evelyn reached out, placing a comforting hand on Zara's arm. You're not alone, Zara. We're all in this together. As they continued their journey, the landscape twisted and morphed around them, revealing a series of surreal tableaus that seemed to defy the laws of physics. In one instance, they found themselves walking on the ceiling of a cavernous chamber, the ground above them teeming with writhing tendrils that seemed to beckon them towards an abyssal chasm. In another, they were forced to navigate a field of towering crystals that emitted an eerie, otherworldly hum. Dr. Maxwell Chen, his eyes wide with fascination, studied the crystals intently. These structures, they're unlike anything I've ever seen. The way they refract and distort light. It's as if they're bending the very fabric of reality. Evelyn couldn't help but share his awe, even as she felt a cold knot of fear coiling in her stomach. We need to be careful, Maxwell. We can't let our curiosity blind us to the danger. But even as she spoke the words, she knew that it was easier said than done. The mirror planet was a siren's call, luring them deeper into its depths with the promise of untold knowledge and self-discovery. And with each step, she felt the bonds of trust that held them together growing more tenuous, the crew's loyalty to one another tested by the relentless onslaught of their own subconscious fears and desires. As they faced the manifestations of their darkest secrets, Evelyn found herself questioning not only her own resolve, but the very nature of reality itself. Was this all just an elaborate illusion, a twisted reflection of their own minds? Or was there something more sinister at work, a malevolent force that sought to consume them from within? With a growing sense of unease, Evelyn realized that the only way to find the answers she sought was to confront the darkness that lurked within her own heart. And as she gazed into the depths of the abyss, she knew that the true test of their courage and resilience was only just beginning. The journey through the labyrinth was far from over, and the crew of the Meridian would need to rely on every ounce of their wit and determination to overcome the mind-bending challenges that lay ahead. But as they pressed on, united in their resolve to uncover the truth, Evelyn couldn't help but feel a glimmer of hope. For in the darkness of space, even the smallest light could serve as a beacon of hope, guiding them through the storm and towards the safe harbor of self-discovery. And in that moment, she knew that they would face whatever lay ahead together, their collective strength and resilience their greatest weapon against the mirror planet's sinister hold. As they delved deeper into the heart of the labyrinth, the crew found themselves confronted with a series of increasingly complex and confounding challenges. The landscape seemed to shift and warp around them, as if taunting them with its ever-changing nature. And with each step, Evelyn felt the weight of her responsibility growing heavier, the burden of her own grief and guilt, a constant reminder of the stakes at hand. But she was not alone in her struggle. As they navigated the twisting corridors and surreal landscapes, the crew found solace in one another, their shared experiences serving as a source of strength and support. And in the face of their deepest fears and darkest desires, they discovered a wellspring of resilience that defied even the most relentless of the planet's assaults. In those moments of unity and understanding, Evelyn saw a glimmer of hope, a flicker of light in the darkness that seemed to promise a brighter future. And as they pressed on, their resolve unwavering, she couldn't help but believe that they would find a way to overcome the mirror planet's sinister hold and unlock the secrets that lay hidden within its depths. For in the end, it was not the strength of their individual wills that would see them through the storm, but the power of their collective spirit. And as they stood together, their hearts and minds united in purpose, Evelyn knew that they would face whatever challenges lay ahead with courage, resilience, and the unshakable bonds of trust that had been forged in the crucible of their shared experiences. And so, with determination in their eyes and hope in their hearts, the crew of the Meridian ventured deeper into the heart of the mirror planet, their quest for knowledge and self-discovery driving them ever onward towards the unknown. And as the darkness closed in around them, they knew that they would face whatever lay ahead together, their unity and resilience their beacon of hope in the inky blackness of space. A shimmering curtain of light danced before them, its mesmerizing patterns casting an otherworldly glow on the crew's weary faces. The mirror planet's labyrinthine corridors had grown increasingly treacherous, each twist and turn revealing another surreal landscape that defied logic and reason. Evelyn's heart raced as she studied the kaleidoscopic display before her mind struggling to make sense of the impossible. Commander Hawkins stood beside her, his brow furrowed with concern. "We can't keep going in circles like this, Doctor," he said, his voice barely concealing the frustration that simmered beneath the surface. "We need to find a way out before we lose our minds completely." Evelyn nodded, her gaze fixed on the pulsing, iridescent walls. "I know, Commander," she replied, her voice tinged with exhaustion. "But there's something about these patterns. They seem to be speaking to us, trying to tell us something." As she spoke, the colors swirled and twisted, their hypnotic dance pulling her deeper into their mysterious embrace. The crew watched in silence, their eyes reflecting the ever-shifting hues that seemed to hold the key to the planet's enigmatic secrets. Suddenly, Evelyn's breath caught in her throat as a realization dawned on her. "It's not just a maze," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "It's a living, breathing entity. And it's feeding on our fears, our doubts, our darkest emotions." The words hung heavy in the air, the weight of their implications settling upon the crew like a suffocating shroud. Hawkins stared at her, his eyes narrowed with skepticism. "Doctor, are you sure?" he asked, his voice betraying a hint of doubt. Evelyn nodded, her gaze locked on the swirling patterns. "I've seen this before, Commander," she said, her voice trembling with the force of her conviction. "The loss of my daughter, the guilt, the grief. It's all been amplified, twisted into something almost unrecognizable. And I'm not the only one. Each one of us is being pushed to the brink, our deepest fears laid bare for this entity to feed on." The crew exchanged uneasy glances, the truth of her words sinking in like a cold, hard stone. The tension between Hawkins and Evelyn was palpable, their personal issues resurfacing in the face of this new revelation. "We can't let this thing win," Hawkins growled, his hands clenched into fists at his sides. "We have to find a way to fight back, to break free from its hold." Evelyn nodded, her eyes flashing with determination. "You're right, Commander," she said, her voice steady and resolute. "But first, we need to confront our own demons, to face the darkness within ourselves and find the strength to overcome it." As she spoke, the colors around them grew brighter, more intense, the patterns converging into a single blinding point of light. The crew shielded their eyes, their hearts pounding in their chests as they braced themselves for the unknown. And in that moment, Evelyn knew that the true test had only just begun, for it was not just the mirror planet they had to conquer, but the shadowy corners of their own minds, the hidden depths of their souls that held the key to their survival. With a deep breath, she stepped forward, her eyes fixed on the dazzling light before her. And as she took that first, tentative step into the unknown, she felt a flicker of hope, a spark of defiance that burned bright amidst the darkness. For she knew that, together, they could overcome the darkness, and that the bonds of trust and loyalty that united them would be their beacon of hope in the inky blackness of space. The Meridian's crew huddled together, their faces pale and drawn, as the mirrored planet's whispers echoed in their minds. The hallucinations had grown more potent, more insidious, threatening to shatter their already fragile sanity. Evelyn, her heart heavy with the burden of her own revelations, looked around at her crewmates, their eyes wide with fear and desperation. "We can't go on like this," Commander Hawkins said, his voice ragged with exhaustion. "We need to find the source of this power, or we're going to lose ourselves completely." Evelyn nodded, her hands clenched tightly at her sides. She felt the weight of their fates pressing down upon her, the crushing responsibility of guiding them through this psychic maelstrom. She knew that the path ahead would be fraught with danger, that the sentient planet would do everything in its power to break them. But she also knew that they had no choice but to press on. "We have to keep going," she said, her voice steady and resolute. "We can't give in to the hallucinations no matter how real they seem. We have to hold on to the truth, onto each other, and find the strength to overcome this." The crew exchanged uncertain glances, their fear and doubt palpable in the air. Evelyn could see the doubt in their eyes, the temptation to give in to the seductive embrace of the hallucinations. She knew that she had to convince them, to give them the hope and courage they needed to face the darkness ahead. "I know it's hard," she continued, her voice soft and soothing. "I know that the fear and pain seem unbearable, but we can't let it consume us. We have to remember who we are, what we're fighting for. We have to hold on to the truth, even when it seems like there's nothing left to believe in." As she spoke, she felt a flicker of hope, a spark of defiance that burned bright amidst the darkness. She knew that together, they could overcome the planet's malevolent influence, that the bonds of trust and loyalty that united them would be their beacon of hope in the inky blackness of space. One by one, the crew nodded, their faces set with determination and resolve. Evelyn felt a surge of pride and gratitude, knowing that they were willing to trust her, to follow her into the heart of the darkness. But as they pressed on, the challenges grew more formidable, the hallucinations more potent. The planet seemed to sense their determination, their defiance, and it unleashed its full fury upon them. The crew stumbled through a labyrinth of shifting mirrors, their reflections twisted and distorted, their minds assailed by whispers and lies. And then, in a moment of heart-stopping terror, they triggered a deadly trap. A mirrored wall sprang to life, its razor-sharp shards slicing through the air with deadly precision. Evelyn watched in horror as her crewmates scrambled to escape the deadly barrage, their screams echoing in her ears. But amidst the chaos, there was one voice that stood out, one voice that cut through the din like a knife. It was Lila, her eyes calm and resolute as she stepped forward, her arms outstretched. "I'll hold it back," she said, her voice steady and strong. "Go. Find the source of the power and stop this nightmare." Evelyn watched in stunned silence as Lila threw herself against the mirrored wall, her body trembling with the force of the impact. The razor-sharp shards sliced through her clothing, her skin, but she did not falter. She held the wall at bay, her arms trembling with the strain, her eyes filled with a fierce determination. The crew stared in disbelief, their hearts heavy with grief and guilt. They knew that they could not leave Lila behind, that they could not abandon her to this terrible fate. But they also knew that they had to find the source of the planet's power, that they had to stop this nightmare before it was too late. As they turned to go, Evelyn felt a surge of emotion, a mix of sorrow and rage that threatened to consume her. She knew that they had to honor Lila's sacrifice, that they had to find the strength to overcome their fears and doubts. "We'll come back for you," she whispered, her voice choked with tears. "We'll find a way to stop this and come back for you." And with that promise, they pressed on, their hearts heavy with grief and determination. They would find the source of the planet's power, they would stop this nightmare, and they would honor Lila's sacrifice. They would hold on to the truth, even when it seemed like there was nothing left to believe in. In the dimly lit cavern, the crew huddled together, their faces etched with grief and determination. Evelyn's voice, soft yet resolute, echoed through the chamber. "We honor Lila's sacrifice by seeing this through. We have to find the source of this planet's power and put an end to this nightmare." Jasper, his eyes filled with a steely resolve, nodded in agreement. "She believed in our mission, and so do I. We won't let her down." Zara's fingers tightened around her datapad, her jaw set firmly. "I won't let my family down either. They believed in me, and I will make them proud." Dr. Chen, his gaze fixed on the swirling, reflective surface ahead, murmured, "There's so much more to learn, so much more to discover. We can't let this planet's mysteries consume us." Amelia, her hand resting on the grip of her sidearm, added, "We've faced worse, and we'll come out on top. Together." As the crew reaffirmed their commitment, the weight of their shared grief and determination seemed to solidify into a unified force. They stood as one, ready to face the challenges that awaited them. The final ascent to the heart of the planet was a grueling, surreal journey. The reflective surfaces twisted and distorted their surroundings, casting eerie reflections of their deepest fears and desires. Evelyn, her heart heavy with the memory of her daughter, clenched her fists as she navigated the treacherous path. The air grew colder, thicker with each step, as if the very atmosphere was trying to smother them. As they approached the core, the manifestations grew more intense. Jasper found himself face to face with a younger version of himself, a ghost from his past glory days. He hesitated, his heart aching with nostalgia. But then he felt Evelyn's reassuring hand on his shoulder, her voice a soothing balm. "We can't let the past define us, Jasper. We have to keep moving forward." Zara confronted her stern, disapproving father, his voice echoing through the chamber like a haunting melody. She fought back tears, her voice wavering. "I won't let your expectations control me anymore. I am my own person." Dr. Chen faced a horde of grotesque, twisted creatures, each one a representation of his failures and fears. He stared them down, his voice shaking with defiance. "I won't let fear of failure hold me back. There's too much at stake." Amelia, her heart racing, faced a relentless onslaught of enemies, each one a reminder of her past battles. She gritted her teeth, her weapon at the ready. "I won't be defined by my past. I am stronger than my fears." Together, the crew fought their way through the nightmarish labyrinth, their collective strength and determination propelling them forward. As they reached the heart of the planet, they stood united, their resolve unshaken. Together, they would break free from the planet's grip and honor Lila's sacrifice. In the heart of the planet, a swirling maelstrom of psychic energy pulsed and thrashed, feeding on their fears and desires. Evelyn stepped forward, her eyes filled with a steely resolve. "We have to sever the connection. We have to break free from its grip." Jasper, his hand resting on her shoulder, nodded in agreement. "Together, we can do this." As the crew joined forces, their collective strength formed a powerful, radiant shield, pushing back the dark tendrils of energy that threatened to consume them. With a final, desperate surge of determination, they severed the connection, the maelstrom dissipating into nothingness. As the darkness receded, the crew found themselves bathed in a warm, golden light. They looked at each other, their faces etched with relief and gratitude. They had faced their deepest fears and desires, and they had emerged victorious. Together, they had triumphed over the mirror planet's grip, their bond stronger than ever. As they made their way back to the Meridian, their hearts heavy with the memory of Lila, they knew that they would carry the scars of this harrowing ordeal with them forever. But they also knew that they had expanded the boundaries of human knowledge, and that they had proven that the power of unity and resilience could overcome even the most insidious of enemies. As they looked out at the vast expanse of space, the stars shimmering like distant beacons of hope, they knew that they would face whatever challenges lay ahead, united and unbreakable. The crew of the Meridian had triumphed over the mirror planet, and they would continue to push the boundaries of human understanding, one mission at a time. With a collective roar of determination, the crew of the Meridian stood firm against the tempest of psychic energy swirling around them. Dr. Evelyn Ryder, her eyes blazing with a fierce resolve, reached out to her comrades. Her palm pressed against Commander Jasper Hawkins' calloused hand, and she felt the reassuring squeeze of Lieutenant Zara Khan's fingers intertwining with her own. Dr. Maxwell Chen, his glasses askew and sweat beading on his brow, added his trembling grasp to the chain. Together they closed their eyes, drawing in a unified breath that seemed to resonate with the very fabric of the cosmos. The air crackled with anticipation as their thoughts and emotions melded, forming a tapestry of resilience that transcended the individual threads of their fears and desires. "Focus," Evelyn whispered, her voice barely audible above the cacophony of the psychic storm. "We must find the source and destroy it." In that moment, their collective consciousness surged forth like a tidal wave, crashing against the suffocating barriers of the mirror planet's psyche. The darkness recoiled, writhing and hissing in protest, but the crew's unyielding resolve pressed onward. A brilliant beam of light pierced the blackness, illuminating an ethereal chamber at the heart of the planet. Within it, a pulsating core of raw psychic energy throbbed, the source of the mirror planet's insidious influence. The crew's combined will zeroed in on the vulnerable nucleus, and with a final, desperate surge of mental force, they shattered the orb into a million gleaming shards. As the remnants of the psychic core dissipated, the oppressive weight of the mirror planet's grip evaporated. The crew staggered, gasping for breath as they relished the sweet taste of freedom. As they made their way back to the Meridian, the weight of their experiences settled heavily upon their shoulders. Evelyn, her heart aching with the memory of her daughter's lost laughter, wrestled with the bittersweet knowledge that her own subconscious had conjured the cruel illusion. Jasper, his gait heavy with the burden of his past, struggled to reconcile the thrill of their recent victory with the emptiness that still lingered within him. He glanced at Evelyn, her eyes reflecting a quiet strength that stirred something deep within his soul. Zara's brow furrowed as she grappled with the crushing expectations that had once defined her, now replaced by a newfound sense of self-worth forged in the crucible of their shared ordeal. She cast a sidelong glance at Maxwell, whose normally animated expression was now clouded with introspection. Dr. Chen, his mind still reeling from the revelations that had been unearthed, wrestled with the realization that his relentless pursuit of knowledge had nearly cost them everything. He vowed silently to temper his passion with a newfound respect for the emotional well-being of his crewmates. As the Meridians soared away from the mirror planet, the crew stood in solemn silence, watching the shimmering reflection of their past lives recede into the darkness. They knew that the profound impact of their experiences would forever change the course of their lives, but they also understood that they had emerged stronger, wiser, and more united than ever before. And as the stars stretched out before them, beckoning with the promise of new discoveries and challenges, the crew of the Meridian steeled themselves for the journey that lay ahead, bound together by the unbreakable bonds of trust and resilience forged in the heart of the mirror planet. The Meridian's hull hummed with a gentle vibration, reminding Evelyn Ryder of a lullaby from her childhood. She ran her fingers along the ship's cold metal surface, contemplating the journey that had led them to this moment. As the spacecraft carried them back to Earth, its occupants bore the weight of their harrowing ordeal like a tangible burden. Evelyn closed her eyes, allowing the memories of the mirror planet to flood her mind. The vivid hallucinations, the relentless confrontation with her deepest fears, and the loss of Lila still haunted her dreams. She took a deep breath, forcing herself to remain grounded in the present. "Dr. Ryder?" Commander Hawkins' voice echoed through the ship's corridor, his tone a mix of trepidation and curiosity. "We're approaching Earth's atmosphere. I thought you might want to join us on the bridge." As Evelyn made her way to the bridge, she passed by Zara and Maxwell, who were engrossed in a quiet conversation. They both acknowledged her with a solemn nod, their expressions reflecting the gravity of their shared experience. Upon entering the bridge, Evelyn was greeted by a breathtaking view of Earth, its familiar blue and green hues a stark contrast to the inky blackness of space. She felt a pang of nostalgia, knowing that the world they were returning to would never look quite the same. "Initiating descent," Zara announced, her voice steady despite the lingering tension. The ship trembled as it pierced Earth's atmosphere, a cacophony of sound and violence masking the fragile silence that enveloped the crew. Amidst the chaos, Evelyn found herself reflecting on the paradox of their journey, the quest for knowledge that had both expanded their understanding of the universe and challenged the very fabric of their existence. As the Meridian touched down on terra firma, the crew exchanged a series of knowing glances, each one carrying the weight of 1,000 unspoken words. They had survived the mirror planet, but the scars of their ordeal would remain with them for the rest of their lives. In the days that followed their return, the crew struggled to adjust to life back on Earth. Evelyn found solace in her work, counseling her fellow crew members as they grappled with the psychological consequences of their journey. She listened intently as they recounted their experiences, offering guidance and a shoulder to lean on. "Dr. Ryder," Maxwell began hesitantly during one of their sessions, "I can't help but feel that my obsession with unlocking the secrets of the universe nearly cost us everything. I'm struggling to reconcile my passion for discovery with the need to protect my friends." Evelyn offered him a reassuring smile. "Dr. Chen, it's natural to feel conflicted after what we've been through. But remember, it was also your passion and expertise that helped us unravel the mystery of the mirror planet. Perhaps the key is finding a balance between your pursuit of knowledge and your responsibility to those around you." As the weeks turned into months, the crew continued to adapt to their new reality. They formed a support group, meeting regularly to share their struggles and triumphs as they navigated the complexities of their post-mission lives. During one of these meetings, Commander Hawkins shared his own revelation. "I've spent so much of my life chasing the thrill of exploration, trying to recapture the excitement of my youth. But our journey to the mirror planet taught me that true fulfillment comes not from seeking out danger, but from the bonds we forge with others." As the meeting drew to a close, Evelyn couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and admiration for her crew. They had faced unimaginable horrors and emerged stronger, more resilient, and more united than ever before. As she gazed out the window at the night sky, the stars twinkling like distant beacons of hope, Evelyn knew that their journey to the Mirror Planet had changed them forever. And while the scars of their ordeal would always remain a part of them, they had found solace and strength in the knowledge that they had faced the depths of their own psyches and emerged triumphant. As the chapter drew to a close, Evelyn reflected on the words of an ancient philosopher. The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. Their journey to the Mirror Planet had taught them that the universe was vast, mysterious, and full of wonders beyond their wildest imaginations. And it was this humbling realization that would guide them as they continued to push the boundaries of human knowledge, forever seeking to uncover the secrets of the cosmos.